What's good, YouTube? It's your boy MarshTheKid back with another video. Today we got 5 most disturbing 4chan threads. I love these type of scary videos, man. Shout out to Chillin' Scares. Dropped about a week ago, as you can see right there. Hey man, let's dive straight in, bro. Let's see what they're talking about.
Super 8 static. Just before midnight on the 4th of September 2022, a post went up on 4chan talking about a disturbing visual the OP's friends came across on TV. It read,
"While talking with my friend, they sent a video of their TV, zooming in on a face surrounded by static. They're residing in a Super 8 hotel with channels 1 through 68, yet they found an unnamed channel 73. The top right corner of the video says Plus TV, which appears to be a now defunct Finnish broadcasting service. There's no sound, and the TV manufacturer is Samsung. They found other channels with static and no sound, but no others have the face or Plus TV logo."
Alongside this, the OP also shared a video of what their friend was seeing, and sure enough, it was exactly as they described.
Oh, nah. Nah. Not me.
A few minutes later, they also uploaded a picture of the channel guide for the hotel their friend was staying at. It listed 68 channels, providing that the very existence of the 73rd channel was an anomaly in and of itself. Naturally, this thread went viral within hours, with hundreds of users trying to figure out the answer to the mystery. A mystery that only deepened further when the friend that was staying at the hotel got directly involved with the conversation.
"Hi, a friend of the OP here. If anyone actually has any idea what this could be, I'm curious to know. I'll be checking again in the morning to see if the channel's still there. It's 12 a.m. right now and it's the same thing. I have literally no clue what this could be. I've been looking around on Google for stuff, but nothing that looks like this, and I can't think of a reason for this to be here."
About 10 hours later, they shared new pictures and a new video of the TV, the face still on it. Unfortunately, they had to leave the hotel at this point and couldn't monitor it any further, leaving 4chan users with almost no leads to work with. There were several theories that gained traction as the conversation went on. The first of which was that the OP staged the whole thing for attention on the internet. As one user mentioned,
"Someone plugged their laptop into the HDMI port and is playing some video file they made. Guys, come on."
which is quite plausible. Analog horror videos of this kind are a dime a dozen on the internet. However, many were quick to defend OP. They pointed out how the TV would have displayed HDMI on the screen if they had switched to it after browsing the legitimate channels.
That is true.
How the static remained consistent across the different channels. And most importantly, that there were no signs of something like a laptop being plugged into the TV in any of the pictures or videos. Now, there's obviously still a possibility that the OP did a very good job of covering their tracks to make it seem as legit as possible. But unless the OP confessed themselves, there's no way to know for sure. That said, assuming that they were telling the truth, we still have a couple of plausible explanations of what might have happened. One of which revolves around the idea that the unsettling imagery on channel 73 was the result of a channel hijacking or hack. A user with extensive knowledge in the field of TV hacking actually came across this thread and left some valuable feedback, reading,
"Hey OP, I think I know exactly what this is. So, back in the day when analog TVs were more common, there was a nefarious hobby for nerds called TV pirating. This is where you hijack an unused low-frequency channel from nearby and can broadcast whatever you want on it. I used to do it quite often in Topeka, both on TV and radio. Anyway, it's still common in some places, although harder to not get caught or be shut down automatically in a matter of seconds. So, what TV pirates do now is run a very low-quality test with static and a symbol in the center to broadcast a recognizable symbol and test if it works, while also being an inside joke to other TV pirates who they may know online or IRL.
Put simply, someone else staying at the same Super 8 hotel likely hacked into their TV networking system and broadcasted this low-quality but still recognizable image for nothing but fun. This would also explain why there were more than 68 channels on the TV. Presumably, the hacker enabled them and then used one of them to conduct his experiment. Since if they interrupted one of the normal channels, there was a higher chance that someone from the hotel staff would find out sooner and shut them down. Even the OP's friend who witnessed the disturbing imagery firsthand agreed that this was the most likely explanation. However, the TV hacker theory is a bit far-fetched for some, which is where an even more grounded explanation from a Reddit user comes in, stating,
"I noticed that logo in the corner and I'm starting to think it's legit. Hotels have their own modulators for their TV systems so they can combine stations from multiple sources, satellite, OTA, internal, etc., and assign the channels as they see fit. Modern ATSC or IP-based systems are fairly expensive, so it's still common to see cheaper places holding on to their old analog infrastructure like what we see in the video. Anyone that's old enough to remember the days of analog TV knows that it isn't an all-or-nothing affair like modern digital TV. An analog signal will gradually fade into the snow as the signal weakens. So I'm thinking the motel used to have more channels available in the past. Someone probably left the cable hooked up to the input for channel 73 with the other end unterminated. This dangling cable could act as an antenna and pick the signal from another channel connected with a poorly shielded cable. It's a weak signal being picked up by a crappy antenna in a system that wasn't meant to be used wirelessly, so not much picture is going to make it through. In this case, the face and the logo were the only parts bright enough to make it through. I bet if OP flipped through all the channels, they'd find one with the same logo in the corner.
As for the origins of the creepy face, there are several theories on that as well. To some, it reminded them of the floating head imagery in the music video for Burning Down the House by a band called Talking Heads. One user also enhanced the otherwise low resolution, which to some made the face look like a portrait of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Unfortunately, no one was able to figure out exactly where the original image came from. The 4chan thread stayed active for about 9 days. But when no one was able to find any concrete answers, most users lost interest and moved on, leaving the mystery of the Super 8 static channel unsolved to this day. Something I've caught myself doing way more often than I should is laying in bed at like midnight, scrolling on my phone, and suddenly I'm convinced that this niche symptom I just started experiencing is the result of some life-threatening disease leaving me only days to live. I will go down the full doom scroll spiral, forums, trusted websites, random Reddit posts, and it pretty much always leaves me more stressed than before I started, because in that moment there's nothing I can really do. That is where today's video sponsor ZocDoc comes in.
I'm mad he got me with that. I was really watching.
Christmas present. On the 20th of December 2018, a post appeared on the B or random board of 4chan with a vague statement from OP reading,
"Be here in B 23/12/2018, GMT +1. You don't want to miss this."
One user asked for more information, writing,
"What am I in for?"
To which the OP gave a rather ominous reply stating,
"Let's just say it's my Christmas present for you."
The OP went dark after posting this reply and didn't make any other posts until 3 days later, just as he promised.
"Sorry guys, 2 beers left and I will go for it. It will ruin my life for years, so I need to get some courage."
Initially, most users were either confused due to the OP's vagueness or sympathetic towards him, with one person writing,
"Go for what? Don't ruin your life, bro. Do some good stuff for yourself."
But after Sam confessed that he was going to take the life of his own father, and that he was just waiting for him to fall asleep. As the OP continued to provide more details about his circumstances, the tone of the thread shifted from users doubting him to many encouraging him to go through with his plans.
"Don't give up halfway through, OP. Finish the job."
One user even went as far as to write a whole guide on how the OP should execute his plan, stating,
"You've got to plan it better, Anon. You'll be the prime suspect by tomorrow and be in cuffs within a week. Don't do yourself that way. If he's taken advantage of people the way you say he has, then there will be plenty of motive for many people to end him. You have a great opportunity for the police to say, well, this guy wronged so many people, it could be anyone. We have 126 prime suspects at the moment. Spend 2 months doing nothing but researching unsolved murders, then smash and burn your hard drive and throw it in a lake 100 miles away. Have an alibi. Be away. Have your story straightforward and never change it. Be prepared to be questioned, then get on with it."
Maybe some of them still believed that the
So someone's helping him commit murder? Bro was just openly just telling him how to get away with murder?
He was just making up everything for attention. However, things took a very dark turn about an hour after the beginning of this thread, when the OP posted a picture of what looked like the entrance to a bedroom with the caption simply reading,
"Wish me luck."
About 30 minutes after that, the OP returned with one final picture, proving that he went through with his plan, stating,
"OP here. I'm about to call the police for myself."
R.I.P. bro.
The police in Austrad, Norway received a call from the OP confessing to his crime. Though, because of Norway's strong privacy laws, the only information about the OP that became public was that he was in his 20s. Apart from that, the OP of this disturbing 4chan thread remains anonymous to this day. Grand Rapids Diner. On the 20th of August 2019, an anonymous person started a thread discussing some extremely...
My bad, brain fart. Bro, not only arrest bro that committed the murder, y'all need to go back and arrest the dude who was telling him how to do it. Y'all need to go back in the threads, find his information, and arrest him too. He's just as guilty.
Unsettling activity he noticed at an abandoned building near his home. However, what sounded like nothing more than a conspiracy creepypasta turned into a disturbing mystery involving shady shell companies, mysterious sightings, and the potential disappearance of 3 people who went looking for more evidence. The post read,
"You X-Files want to solve a real conspiracy? 1634 Coit, Grand Rapids, Michigan was once a popular restaurant called Isaac's that opened shop in the mid-1990s. After the owner, Isaac, died from lung cancer, his widow and son kept it running for a few years before ultimately closing down and selling the building in the early parts of 2014. A strange couple in their 40s purchased it shortly thereafter with the intention of turning it into a coffee shop. They painted the exterior, put a lamp in the middle of the building, taped garbage bags over the windows, and that's how it sat until present day. It was in the fall of 2015 when weird stuff started happening. It was not uncommon to see 2 or 3 SUVs pull into the premises, bring in a group of young children, and then see the adults leave, but never catch sight of the children again. The reason I'm posting this is because I was just walking my dog past the building tonight when I saw a kid about 10 or 11 pull down a corner of one of the garbage bags taped over the window and proceeding to pound on the glass as if trying to get my attention. I pulled out my camera to get a pic, but right before the flash went off, he was seemingly pulled away by someone. I stood around for several more minutes, but the building seemed empty from that point forward. The police were called, showed up, flashed their lights in the window, and didn't see anything and just took off. No one is taking this seriously. I'm telling you, something nefarious is going on here.
So what I'm hearing is the police have given us another L. You get a complaint that there's a potential murderer or kidnapper in the building, which most commonly happens in abandoned buildings. So you just put a little flashlight to the window and then just walk away.
Put simply, the OP was implying that this abandoned building was the operating ground for a trafficking ring of sorts. Which does sound a bit out there at first, with some even accusing the OP of straight up making the whole thing up. That is, until people started looking into it. And what they discovered was concerning to say the least. For starters, users uncovered the fact that the property was owned by a company called Humanix LLC, which to some sounded a lot like a mix of words human and trafficking. The company's headquarters were publicly listed as a house just a 7-minute drive away from the abandoned diner. And visiting the place on Google Street View from 2019 shows an SUV and a van parked outside, just like the OP claimed in his post. At one point, the Street View car also captured a handful of children in the house's yard, which some used as evidence of something shady going on. However, from the looks of things, these children were just playing in the yard with no fence or supervision. So, if they were truly being trafficked, there was nothing stopping them from running away. But still, the evidence supporting OP's claims was continuing to pile up. Another strange thing about Humanix was that it had a reported yearly revenue of over $92,000, despite no one being able to find any information on where this revenue came from. As for the listed owner of Humanix, that turned out to be an IT professional named Ray. However, he didn't list anything about Humanix on his LinkedIn profile, which would make sense if he was truly using the company for illegal activities. Lastly, the photo OP uploaded with his original post also turned out to have a crucial piece of evidence. You see, in order to confirm the OP was actually the one who took this picture, other users made him post another picture with a timestamp. However, while the background of this new photo looks similar to the previous one at first glance, keen-eyed users noticed a shadow from behind the door was missing in the second photo, suggesting that there was someone hiding behind the door who later moved away. Likely the same person, suggesting that there was someone...
There's a shadow missing? Are you talking about right here? I'm not 100% sure what you're talking about.
Hiding behind the door who later moved away. Likely the same person who in the OP's story pulled the child away from the window. These discoveries, combined with some users from that area backing up OP's claims, made 4chan users extremely curious about what was going on. with a few deciding to take matters into their own hands and visit the area themselves. One user drove to the location and managed to stream their visit. And while the stream itself has since been deleted, a screen grab from it survived. It showed the interior of the place, which was a total mess. There was nothing there to suggest that the property had been under renovation for years by that point. Another user also visited the diner and streamed everything on Twitch. However, this stream introduced even more questions than it answered. For starters, at one point during the stream, we could clearly see handprints on the window, exactly where the OP claimed the child was banging earlier. The person streaming this location also ended the stream in a very disturbing fashion, where he heard something in the darkness, went to check on it, and then went offline.
Okay, I thought I heard something back here. Nope. Okay.
It's been over 6 years since then, and this user has never streamed on Twitch again, almost as if he disappeared that night, which unfortunately seems to be a trend with this mystery. Both the OP and the person who streamed the interior first have also disappeared from the internet, and supposedly no one has heard anything from them ever since. So, what's going on here? Was this abandoned diner actually connected to a trafficking business? Well, given everything we've seen, that's not out of the realm of possibility. The place even had a spacious basement with plenty of space for nefarious activities. One of the main arguments against this theory is that the building is surrounded by homes on all sides, so surely someone in the neighborhood might have reported some suspicious activity. However, something that goes against this assumption is the fact that the Grand Rapids area has 10 times the national average of people on the sex offender registry. So, if this business was actually what the OP insinuated, there would be no shortage of customers nearby. Though, one part of the story that we haven't talked about yet is the second address linked to Humanix. It corresponds to a massive house about 20 minutes away from the shady diner. Looking up the residence of this home leads to a couple named Sam and Leah, who could be the couple the OP mentioned in his post. Something notable about Sam and Leah, however, is that they were the foster parents of up to 8 kids at the time, which explains the many kids of similar age playing in the yard of their other property. And given how rigorous the foster system is in the US, it would not be easy for them to traffic the children they adopted without anyone noticing. Now, a potential explanation for all of this is that the OP saw the couple in the area once with their foster children and made up the rest of the story for attention online. But while this explains some parts of the mystery, there are still many questions left unanswered. For instance, how was Humanix making so much money without providing any product or service? Why would Sam and Leah take their foster children to an under-renovation building in the first place? And why did the 3 people investigating this mystery completely disappear from the internet without a trace? Unfortunately, it's been over 6 years since the original post went up. The diner has since been sold to someone else, and no one has been able to find any concrete evidence of the trafficking theory ever since. Whatever the deal with this Grand Rapids diner was, whether nefarious or completely innocent, it will likely remain a mystery for the foreseeable future.
See, bro? Man, I blame the justice system for that one, bro. You have clear evidence that something fishy going on. Instead of investigating and trying to get to the bottom of it, you just shine a flashlight and then just go on about your day. Like, bro, there could be people getting killed, bro. And you just not even, like, trying. Like, you're not even trying to do your job because you want to be lazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, there's too many clues and flaws in that story. Man, we need some officers nowadays, bro, that actually want to work and do justice. Not just that want to kill innocent people and just be lazy.
Northwest warning. On the evening of September 30th, 2015, an ominous thread went up on 4chan from an anonymous user stating,
"Some of you guys are alright. Don't go to school tomorrow if you are in the Northwest. Happening thread will be posted tomorrow morning. So long, space robots."
The contents of this post alongside the picture of Pepe the Frog holding a gun painted a clear picture of what the OP meant. Essentially, he was about to do something horrible the next morning, and this was his way of getting some online attention before that. Now, threats like these aren't exactly rare on 4chan, as most of them end up being nothing more than hoaxes. So, some users didn't take the post seriously at all, while others sarcastically told the OP that they would be watching the news in anticipation. The OP, however, stayed adamant about his plans and even replied stating,
"We'll post again in the AM, a 10-minute countdown. Won't say more, too much to prepare.
This was a short-lived thread that quickly got lost in the endless supply of content on 4chan. However, what happened the next day left everyone who saw the thread in shock. On the morning of October 1st, a deadly shooting occurred at Umpqua Community College in Oregon, with the suspect being identified as 26-year-old Chris Harper Mercer.
Bro, he just look like a creep, man. Look at him, bro. Just look like a creep. Look at this dude. Man, prayers out for everybody that got harmed or were in danger that day, bro. Y'all gotta watch your back, bro. People like this are everywhere, unfortunately.
Was presumably the anonymous author of this post a day prior. The 4chan thread was quickly discovered and put under investigation by the authorities, and for good reason. The original post was one thing, but what made the connection even stronger was the conversation the OP had with another user. Most of that original thread has since been deleted, but according to the few surviving reports, one of the other users, thinking the OP was joking, actually gave advice on how to carry out the attack, with the OP thanking them for the tip. A day later, parts of the incident were exactly as this random user advised. However, despite this connection, nothing much came of this investigation for the next 8 or so years.
So how did you get
That
caught?
is, until the FBI released a document with a twist that no one saw coming. According to this heavily redacted document, the person who made the 4chan post had nothing to do with the incident. The FBI managed to track down the anonymous poster in less than 24 hours and conducted a thorough investigation into his life. The OP, let's call him John, was actually a young man from Florida who originally grew up in Michigan. Apparently, him making the thread about an upcoming incident the next day was nothing more than a massive coincidence. He had no knowledge of the attack beforehand and had no connection to Chris, the actual perpetrator. The odds of John randomly predicting such a specific event are astronomically low. No one would even believe this report if it wasn't directly from the FBI itself.
What?
And many people today don't even believe this, arguing that it's too much of a coincidence to not have been posted by Chris. Another possibility, something that the FBI report didn't mention, is that maybe Chris only came across this 4chan thread, which would explain why he used the same tactics described.
That's exactly what I was about to say. What if... Actually, hold on, let me hear what you said.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find any evidence supporting or denying this theory.
Bro, what if he came across this host, right? But then he just used the information to carry out his own thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, the killer, whatever his name is that they showed. What if he just used the OP's advice? Wait, I'm not even in community college. I mean, this is crazy though. I don't even know. Like, I feel like they're trying to dive deeper into this, so just give me a brain fart, bro. I ain't gonna lie. There's some weird people.
Dubs decides. On August 30th, 2015, a user posted a time-stamped picture of the big toe of their right foot on the random board of 4chan alongside the caption.
Right?
Dubs decides when I do.
Dubs, for those who don't know, refers to the last 2 digits of a post number being the same. You see, every post on 4chan is given a random identifying number, and there's no way to predict what it's going to be. So, the chances of the last 2 digits of this number being the same are quite low, but still within the realm of possibility. In other words, OP claimed that he would do whatever a reply with the matching last 2 digits said. This is a tactic often used by people who just want attention, without having to actually do the crazy thing they promised, hoping none of the replies are dubs. Even when a reply does get dubs, the posters rarely fulfill their promise. However, the OP of this particular post was of a completely different mindset, as when a reply without even dubs told him to
chop off the toe.
He obliged and posted a picture of his toe tightly wrapped with the caption reading,
cutting off circulation may take some time.
A few minutes later, he posted a second photo of his foot on the edge of a bathtub with a hatchet and a bucket of ice in the picture as well. Even with all this buildup, however, no one actually expected the OP to go through with this commitment. But then, about 40 minutes later, the OP returned with a picture of his toe severed to the bone and covered.
Bro. My people would never do this. I ain't gonna say it, but y'all know what I'm thinking.
In blood. With this, the thread divulged into a string of typical 4chan style reaction images from the community. As for the OP, he completely disappeared from the thread and didn't post any further updates. Now, it's possible he used the bucket of ice to preserve the severed part to hopefully get it reattached at the hospital. But even then, promising something this horrific and actually going through with it hinted at the possibility of the OP being deeply mentally ill. That's one of the only explanations for why anyone would willingly do such a thing. Now, I have seen some claims that the final image was a convincing Photoshop job or special effects. However, while I can't show the image on YouTube, the injury and the blood is way too realistic looking to be fake, especially for 2015 standards.
Watch your back, man. There's some weird people out there, bro, I'm telling you. Like, bro, who just says they want to go and just chop their toe off, bro? Bro. Man. Like, comment, subscribe, bro. All free. All helps me in the algorithm. All links in the description. TikTok, Discord, Twitch, all that good stuff. We out, man.